Then I wondered what I would do next. So I made a decision. I decided that I would go and knock on Mrs. Shear's door, and I would go and live with her because I knew her and she wasn't a stranger, and I had stayed in her house before. Then I turned around and saw some people walking down the street, and I was frightened again. I went around the side of Mrs. Shear's house and sat down behind the dustbin so they couldn't see me. And then I had to work out what to do. I decided that I couldn't go home again, and I decided that I couldn't go live with Uncle Terry because he lived in Sunderland, and I didn't know how to get to Sunderland, and I didn't like Uncle Terry because he smoked cigarettes and stroked my hair. And then I decided I couldn't go live with Mrs. Alexander because she was a stranger. And then I thought I could go live with Mother because she was my family and I knew where she lived, except I'd never been to London before, and the thought of going somewhere on my own was very frightening. But then I thought about going home again or hiding in the garden every night and Father finding me, and that made me feel even more frightened. And then I realized that there was nothing I could do which felt safe. And I made a picture of it in my head like this. And then I imagined crossing out all the possibilities which were impossible, which is like a math exam when you look at all the questions and you decide what you're going to do and which ones you are not going to do, and you cross off all the ones which you are not going to do because your decision is final and you can't change your mind. And it was like this, which meant that I had to go to London to live with Mother, and I couldn't do it by myself on the train because I knew all about trains from my train set, and I would go to Swindon Station. And then I thought how I could never be an astronaut because being an astronaut meant being hundreds of thousands of miles away from home, and my home was in London now, and that was 100 miles away, which was 1,000 times nearer than my home would be if I lived in space. And then I thought I would need money if I was going to go to London, and I would need food to eat because it was a long journey and I wouldn't know where to get food from. And then I formulated a plan, and that made me feel better because there was something in my head that had an order and a pattern, and I just had to follow the instructions one after the other. Toby, you'll travel better in my pocket. I took lots of deep breaths and I made a decision that I would have to find out how to get to the train station, and I would do this by asking someone. So I got out my Swiss Army knife and I flicked out the saw blade, and I held it tightly in the pocket that Toby wasn't in so that I could stab someone if they grabbed hold of me. And then I saw a lady on the other side of the street with a baby and a pushchair, so I decided to ask her. Where do I buy a map?
A map of where?
A map of here.
Why do you need a map?
Because I need to get to the train station.
You don't need a map to get to the train station.
Yes, I do. And also, I need to know where there is a cash machine.
You see that building down there? That's the train station.
You mean the striped ones with the horizontal windows?
Yeah. That's your down.
Hey son, are you okay? You've been dazed for the past 2 hours. Shopkeeper was getting worried.
I have.
Yeah, are you going somewhere?
I'm going to London to live with Mother.
Do you have a ticket?
No.
Do you need help getting one?
Yeah.
Alright, follow me, boy. Right this way. And here it is.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Hey boy, your father's looking for you. You gotta come with me. Dang it! The door is closed. Okay, next stop, we're getting off.
Can I go to the bathroom first?
Make it quick. It's been a while. Dang it, where did he go?
At 11:42, I heard Mother's voice. She tried to hug me, but I pushed her away.
Sorry.
Toby almost ran away. And then Mother fanned out her fingers for me to touch.
Why didn't you write to me?
Father hid all the letters that you sent to me. He told me that you died.
His father reported him as missing. Do you want to go back to your father's?
I want to live with my mother.
Okay, well, if his father gives you any trouble, just give me a call. You can't just keep me from my son. He doesn't even want to see you. You don't know what he wants. You left. You told him I was dead. You might as well have been. You didn't even give him the letters I wrote him. He didn't need to hear from you. Why not? You walked out on us. That's why not. Now I'm going to see him whether you want me to or not. Christopher, I'm sorry. Just please.
I saw 5 red cars in a row, followed by 4 yellow cars in a row, which invalidated the system.
I called Miss Gascoigne to postpone your A-level math test for next year.
What?
He can't live here. He's too much and his flat is too small. But he's my son. I don't care if he's your son. He's stressing us out. Show some respect. I can already see that you're stressed out from taking care of that monster. No, he cannot stay here, Judy. You were never like this. Stress from what? Stress from him. But he's my son. I don't care if he's your son. He's getting out of here. He cannot live here. It's him or me, sweetie.
We have to go back to Swindon. If we stay in London any longer, somebody would have gotten hurt.
I have to stay at Father's house after school each day because Mother doesn't get out of work until 5:30 p.m. So I lock myself in my room so that Father can't get in. Toby died at old age of 2 years and 7 months. So I buried him in a plastic pot for plants because Mother's house doesn't have a garden.
Christopher, look, things can't go on like this. I don't know about you, but this hurts too much. You being in the house but refusing to talk to me. You have to start to learn to trust me. And I don't care how long it takes. If it's a minute one day, and 2 the next, and 3 the next, and it takes years, I don't care. Because this is important. This is more important than anything else. Let's call it a project. And we'll work on it together. You have to spend more time with me. And I have to show you that you can trust me. And at first it's going to be really difficult. But then it's going to get better. I promise. You don't have to say anything right now. You just have to think about it. Okay? And, I've got you a present to show you that I really mean what I say. And to say I'm sorry because, well, you'll see.
Then he got out of the armchair and he walked over to the kitchen door and opened it.
Come here, Sandy.
Then he came back through and gave me the dog.
Come here, Sandy. Come here.
The dog sat on my lap and I stroked it.
In A Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, the main character, Christopher Boone, is a 15-year-old autistic boy whose mindset is best explained by the quote, "Nothing more should be presumed than absolutely necessary."
Throughout the novel, Chris develops from a scared boy who was reserved and easily frightened to an outgoing, adventurous young man. This is symbolized by his pets. Toby the rat represents Christopher in the beginning, very skittish, where Sandy, his golden retriever, represents Christopher after the transition, someone who was more outgoing. The death of Toby symbolizes the end of Chris's transition.
Orion is also a symbol. The fact that he can be seen differently from afar, but that he is still a set thing up close, represents the way society looks at autistic children.
Christopher's food box and Swiss Army knife symbolize his sense of security and are things he falls back on to feel comfortable.
Besides symbols, Mark Haddon also uses the structure of his book to reiterate his idea. Because the novel doesn't follow chronological order, you get more of Christopher's perspective.
While many people believe that the central theme in this novel is that autism is not a disability, there's also another central theme, which is the struggle for independence. We can see this through Christopher's journey and hardships as he changes into someone who is more outgoing and independent.